Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Latina Mic Drop. What if the very things you thought disqualified you were actually your superpowers? Today, we're unlocking a real story behind the book that's about to change the game and maybe even your life, like it did to me. Welcome to today's special episode of Latina Mic Drop. I'm your host, Miriam Simon, and today is not just any episode. Today, we're diving into the heart and hard won wisdom behind my brand new book, Tattoos and Pearls. If you've ever wondered how to turn scars into strategies or dreams into deliverables, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Let's just dive right in. What inspired me to write the book is the fact that there are so many people who are out here doing great things and doing them on their own. And a lot of people who don't have the support of their parents, who don't have the blueprint, who didn't have the right support, who had to struggle to get to where they are, who had to be on their own and figure things out and work it out the way they could, are out there. And I am one of those people. I am one of those people who grew up in a tough neighborhood, but knew every single step of the way that regardless of what I had been through, I was called for more and there was more to do. And the interesting part about it was that life has a way of teaching you how what's happening to you is your next step forward. And the interesting part was that I lost an executive sponsor, and it was a big, huge change for me to the point where I felt that I had lost security. I had lost everything. And I wasn't sure what the path forward was for me. And I had worked so hard to get to where I was. So I was thinking, this can't be the end. Like, is this the end of where, as far as I'm going to go? Is this where, the rubber meets the road? And what do I do from here? So the personal experiences that influence the stories and the lessons in the book come directly from being sidelined and being put in a box and being in a place where you're so challenged and you're so unbelievably hurt because you think the carpet has been taken from under your feet and you've lost your security, you've lost your way forward, you've lost the security blanket that somebody was holding for you, but it's now time for you to take that step forward on your own. And this mentor said that to me, this is now your opportunity to stand on your own 2 feet and move forward. But what did that look like for me? I had no idea. None whatsoever. And so the first few weeks and months were really hard. Out of nowhere at like 5:15, I was already on my way home and I had to come back because they called me in to tell me about this change that was happening in the next not even 24 hours. So I said, well, what was I going to do? Right. I really had no choice. And they swore up and down it was from the best. And career wise, I knew that it probably wasn't. But the good thing is that I leaned forward and it happened. And now, almost 3 years later, I can turn back and say that everything happened for me. And there was a reason why I was able to find myself even more and dig deeper into who I am and find out what it was that was next for me. And the personal experiences that I added into the book were experiences that were life changing, that were pivotal, that demonstrate that your life experience is really what can change the way you see life, or it helps you see that the reason why you see life the way it is now is because of your life experience. So there's some times where we're living life and we're going through it and we're like, damn, like this is not the life that I want to live, but it's comfortable to be in an uncomfortable situation. And so I wanted to show and I wanted to talk about all these bad instances. And there's plenty more. I didn't even get to include everything in the book, but I wanted to show at least some pivotal moments that as women we face. All the body shaming that I lived with forever, how I was neglected, how I wasn't acknowledged, how I had so many different ways that people were indifferent to me, mistreated me, and looked at me sideways for who I was and how much I had at the moment. And then just talked about how all of that became the foundation for the future, for the way that I am now, for being such a tough person and being able to get through things, for my attitude. I wanted to continue to show that even though all these bad things have happened, and even though you started at -0, you have a place in this world and you have something to offer. And the other part was that I found myself just trying to ask for permission and trying to get somebody's approval that will never see me for who I am, who will always have an opposing view. And I just realized that that was really me trying to make somebody like me that just wasn't ever going to like me. And the point of it is that we all have something to offer, and sometimes our circles change. And sometimes it's meant for us to grow and figure out where we're going. And the other part, too, is that I wanted to talk about all the things that as a Latina, as a Mexican, we don't get to talk about. And so many women go through this stuff like misogyny and machismo, and how women are against each other and why that happens, and how we're always seeking approval, and all the ways that we feel that we need to fit in, and the belonging, and all these kinds of things. And then, even with all of that, there's still a way that you can be seen and that you can flourish and that you can be resourceful and that you can demonstrate that even though all of this stuff is happening, that you have solutions, that you have opportunities to flourish, and that you're able to create new solutions, new ways, innovative projects, innovative groups, innovative ways forward, processes, even. So many different things come out of problems. And if you're that person who figures those out, because trust me, we do, because we've learned it. That's all we had, right? We didn't have a blueprint, so we were figuring it out. And the other part too is like I kept thinking, like, why do I feel like I need to be pushed out? I'm not going to be pushed out. I'm here, I'm doing the thing, and I'm working. And now how can I help more people? And so this is what I was thinking is, how will this book help and change your life? Right? I want people like me who didn't have a way, who thought that because they didn't have the support that they can never find it, or because they love who they love that they would never feel loved. And I struggled with that. I mean, I've had so many different opportunities to actually feel loved, but I didn't and I couldn't, because I was just stuck in a bad way, and I was just stuck in the old thinking, and I was just stuck in all this other stuff, right? But I talk about my experience going to therapy and how that helped me. And even though it might not be your way, but it could be an opening or something that you could say, you know what? I can move forward. I can do different things. I do have what it takes, because you do. So much of what I do is being able to demonstrate how you within yourself have all the answers that you need. And sometimes you just need to seek out little things here and little things there. And as long as you do it one step at a time, because you don't start big, you start small, and you keep moving forward and you keep doing, and you stack quick wins, and then they end up being these huge wins. And what I wanted to do is give somebody the blueprint of what it looks like to start where you started and to be where you are and meet yourself where you are, and understand that you can move forward. There are ways that you can move along. There is an opportunity to face the stuff that we've been through, even though it's been hidden, even though it's been a secret, even though it's been sitting in the background, even though our families tell us not to talk about this stuff, even though people feel shame, even though we get embarrassed, even though we have these moments, that it's okay to start the conversations with the people that we feel comfortable with in a safe space, of course, and that we can move forward and that we can find a way and that we do have what it takes. And even though people sometimes try to tell me I don't have what it takes, or You lack one, you lack two, you lack three, or no, here's another no, here's another no. That's okay, because at the end of the day, right, those no's are redirections for me. What's for me is going to be for me. And I'm really not worried about it. All I do is think, okay, if this is not the door that I need to go through, what is the door that I need to go through? Maybe I haven't knocked on enough doors to get through them. And with this book is what I want to show you. And the best part of this is that I've been able to give you the different ways in which I've made it. And why is this different? Because nobody's talking about your life experiences. Nobody's talking about all the wisdom that we've gained in the street, right? Like, I grew up really tough neighborhood. I didn't go to an Ivy League school. I learned everything from volleyball out at the park. My mom picked me up from the gym when I was a freshman playing varsity volleyball because I was that good. She took me out. I didn't get the opportunity, but I did learn from what I learned in the streets. And it taught me so much about the way that I lead and the way that I work and the way that I make things happen and the way that I know my position and that I know how to position myself to move forward, which all of these things is what I'm talking about in the Inc framework, which is your instinct, navigation, and a killer mindset. Without these, I wouldn't have never gone anywhere, because when you have everything stacked against you and everybody's telling you, only 1% does this or only 5% does that, and the people from your background is only, single digits to do whatever, well, you have to have a killer mindset, because otherwise you're not going to make it. You have to have such a tough mind, and you have to have the mindset that you're going to win, that you're going to figure it out, so that you do figure it out and you do get there and you keep moving forward and you keep working hard and you stay persistent in what it is that you want to accomplish. And I did it. I did it with 3 kids. I did it. I waited my turn and I did what I had to do. And listen, I'm not perfect. Nothing was perfect. And we've made it this far. And that's what I want to show you. I want to be able to give you an opportunity to see yourself, to meet yourself, to say, you know what? Yes, I have kids. Yes, I've been through this. Yes, that's happened to me. But what have I learned from it? What can I use it for? What's the leverage that I have? Or how can I build leverage if I don't have it? How do I get that? Where do I go from this? And that's where the Pearl strategy came in, because that's exactly what I did in every single instance. I was thinking, like, how do I position myself? How do I execute at excellence? Like, not under deliver and over promise, right? That's where people make a lot of mistakes. No, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that the goals that you can reach, you can exceed them. Reach excellence all the time. I cannot work at a mediocre level. I just can't. It just doesn't work for me. And it's not in my blood. It's not in the way that I walk. It's not in the way that I talk. It's not in the way that I do things. I'm high energy, high achieving, moving forward, but I'm not killing myself. I'm not making myself, drown out in everything that I do. Everything that I do has an impact. Everything that I do is intentional. And you need to be that way too, because otherwise you're not going to know. Like, everything that I worked for, doubling my income twice, wasn't a mistake. That didn't just happen by coincidence. No, that was planned. That was strategic. That was me looking into it. That was me being resourceful. That was me being resilient. That was me being even rewarding myself. Like, you think that's not rewarding? You think that I'm going to celebrate my wins. I don't care what anybody says. And I love this book, F Being Humble. If you haven't read it, go ahead and take a look at that book, because that book, every time I'm like, you know what, you're being too much. No, F Being Humble, because we've made it this far and we have the ability to go ahead and said, yes, I'm going to celebrate me. I'm going to talk about how great I am. I am going to talk about, you're going to be confident. And that's the point. What people want is for you to stay down so that they can rise up. And I really don't care, because at the same time that I'm rising, you can rise with me. We can all go together. I have no problem shining with anybody else. And that's unfortunately what happens sometimes in corporate America, is the fact that if you're shining bright, they think they can't, but they can. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. Nobody is talking about all the stuff that I'm talking about, because people are so afraid of being themselves, and people are so afraid that they need to fit a specific mold, or they have these competencies, right? I'm in the HR world. Like, I know all that terminology and all that jargon that they use, But at the end of the day, are you providing results? Are people actually liking you? Is the impact you're making actually making sense? Or is it not? Is it meeting the moment? Right? Are we doing what our employees want, or are we going against the grain? And who are we really there for? We have to bring back the humanity in the HR world and be the real heart of the organization. Like, that's just the way it goes, right? And all of these things are the things that I've lived through it. It's proven to work. We don't have connections, but we can build them, and we can find them, and we can create our own networks, which is what I've been able to do and what I've been able to, use as leverage. Sovereignty, I mean, you got to be yourself. You got to own your own world in order for you to feel good and fulfilled. Because if you're just living under everybody else's rules, you're not going to feel good about yourself. It's just not going to work. And when you're doing things because other people want you to, it just goes against who you are. And that's the problem in today's world, that so many of us had to go and get pressured by our families, by our friends, by the people around us. And we ended up doing things that we didn't want to do. And we ended up being around people that we didn't want to be around. And nowadays, that's why I like the future generations, because they're not putting up with it anymore. They don't care. They just walk out the door. They will go back home. Thankfully, they have where to go. And they figured it out how they can live on minimal, but they're happy, but they're finding what their purpose is, but they're looking at what's important to them. Like, we get mad at them sometimes because they're like, oh my God, like they just started and they just left. Oh my goodness, like this person is asking 1,000,001 questions. Oh my goodness, this and all this other stuff is good. I'm glad that they're asking 1,000,001 questions, because they should know what's in it for them. We should be able to explain to them what is in the best interest for them. Like, we should be. They have a part in it too. It's not the way it used to be, where you just dictate to people and they follow what you want them to do. It's not that way anymore. Now it's more about, let's be together, let's be collaborative, let's work together, right? And so what I'm talking about, right, is like real life shit that happens, and how you use it to your advantage, and how you can leverage your experience. Thankfully, nowadays, organizations are not really looking at the degrees and the masters and all this other stuff. But thankfully, now your life experience is worth something. I mean, there's a whole knowledge industry worth billions of dollars out there, because we have the knowledge, and now we're able to take it to the next level. And so many of us, right, all you hear is the same stuff over and over and over and over. Me, I want to change the game. Like, we've done the work. We've broken the cycles. We've gone to therapy. Now what's next? Right? And I talk about being a gate breaker instead of the cycle breaker, because the gate breaker is the way that you make opportunities for other people. Once you get that seat at the table, you need to own it. And how many people don't own it? It gets scary. You can shrink really fast. Like, it's hard. When you're at the top of your game and you're with other people who are top at their game, that shit ain't easy. It's not easy to be around, a group of 10 high achievers. Not easy, but guess what? You can make it work. The point is for you to live out your truth and to be the best you wherever the hell you are. And that's the point. And once you've made it to these tables, it's time for you to say, you know what? How can we make this better? What is different today than it was when this was written? How can we change it to make it to the next level, for not just for me, for everybody here? How can I serve the people that I'm working with? How can I serve the people that I know? What would be next? What is it that they're asking for? What is the change that they're looking for? And then you can create that. You really can. You really can. Once you get to the decision-making table, there's just so much that could go differently if you just open your eyes, if you just talked, if you just voiced that opinion. And listen, there were so many things that I said that I never got credit for, and so many things that I did, and so many things that happened that weren't because I executed them. No, somebody else did, thankfully. And I'm just so happy that at least other people were able to see the vision that I provided or see how we can make it happen. And it was a team effort. Like, I love that part. I didn't have to do everything myself. It was just amazing to be able to say something and somebody else can say, you know what? This is something good, let me think about it, and then they added their own thing and they did it. Sometimes even your haters, the people that are bringing up your stuff and talking about your things and are in the limelight because they're talking about your stuff, even those people I'm thankful for, because guess what, in the real world, people know who did what, and people know who is responsible for these things. And even if they're trying to get their own and do whatever, it doesn't even matter. What matters is the bigger picture. The bigger picture is, who is this impacting? Am I reaching those people that I want to reach? Am I changing the game? Am I making pathways that didn't exist before? And I've been able to see that with my own two eyes, and I've been able to just be in the front row, just marveling at this. And this is what I'm trying to teach everybody. This is what I'm showing you with everything that I've learned. This is what I'm sharing in my book. This is what I'm doing in my coaching program. This is what I'm sharing in the bonuses that come with the book, right? This is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to give you even more when we talk about the book specifically for the 90-minute free session. And then you get a workbook, a companion workbook that you can use along with the book as you're reading it, Tattoos and Pearls. And you can say, okay, chapter 1, fractured foundations. How does this affect me? Like, how is what I've learned in here, how can I apply it to myself and my life? And what makes this book different in the same genre is the fact that leadership, right? People have so many ways of talking about leadership, but in reality, like, the first person you need to lead is yourself. And you need to figure out what your core values are. You need to figure out what's important to you. And a lot of times it's really about serving others. And trust me, we've learned that. We know how to do that part. And serving others has always been at the top of my list and has always been how I've been able to live my life and navigate it professionally and at home. I mean, like, I think Latinas are intrinsically serving all the time, 24/7. So we know how to do that. The difference in this book is the fact that in order for you to be authentic, you need to be yourself wherever you are, right? Code switching is no longer the way. Like, you're one person at home and one person here, and you have to be this person here and you have to be this person there. And unfortunately, in those places where you can't be yourself, then maybe that's where you shouldn't be. And I want to be able to show you that. I want to be able to help you get to that point. I want you to see that you can be yourself. For so long, I didn't even talk about being a mom. For so long, I didn't talk about my spouse. For so many years, I was just trying to act like my title, act like my level, act like this, act like that, right? Well, what are these competencies that I need to do and I need to fill? And yes, we will do those. They're part of the job. They're the responsibility that you have. But what about you will make it 10 times better, right? Why are we putting on a mask? Why are we putting on an act? Why are we doing all these things that just don't work? That's why sometimes when you come into a room, right, you're not connecting because people don't know you. People have no idea who you are, what your energy you bring, you're quiet or this or that. And it's not going to work like that. That kind of stuff just doesn't. And what I want to show you is the fact that you can be yourself, you can lead yourself first, and then you can figure out what else is next. And a lot of people, right, are like talking about dimming your light, or they want to make you feel small. And listen, I'm not that. I am the high energy. I am the person that is up there. Like, I am about being, talking about your accomplishments and being able to talk about what you've done well and what has worked and all the great things that you're doing. This is the good stuff. Like, we are going to promote ourselves. We're going to help each other out. We are going to figure out and make ways that will help other people. The only thing that we need to work on is thinking about how we say those things. What's the impact that we have? And that we do need to pay attention to. And those are skills that can be learned. That can be learned. But like putting on a mask and being somebody you're not, that can only take you so far. And trust me, I know because it took me as far as it took me. And then I needed to be myself. I needed to show up authentically. I needed to be so myself that nothing could shake me. And I wasn't afraid. I wasn't intimidated. It had nothing to do with that. It was all about self protecting. And that's what I'm trying to show you is the fact that you can feel safe, that you can feel in your true worthiness to the point that it doesn't matter what happens, right? You're going to see it as a learning opportunity if something doesn't go well. You're going to see it as something that can be worked on. You're going to be more self aware of what you're doing that maybe isn't working. And we all have that. I'm pretty sure I'm brand new to this stuff. I'm pretty sure there's stuff that I'm going to say 5 years from now. Damn, like I should have done it this way, or this is what I could have said, or this is how this could have been. But I'm not going to get there until I do my 10,000 hours, until I get to that expertise level, right? For the podcast, let's say I'm on episode 28. People say it takes the 10,000 hours. I mean, when the hell am I going to get there? It's going to take a long time. They say that 100 episodes is usually a good indication of what your voice is. So I'm a quarter of the way there. So I'm learning too, right? We all are. We all will continue to be at every stage of our life because things are changing. Life is evolving. We're evolving. And that's the whole point. And then we need to be able to ask for help, something that I never did, something that was impossible, something that I was just like too proud, too scared, too culturally entrenched, like conditioned not to do. I was trained not to do that. And now it's like, you know what? I can't figure this out. Can you help me? Hey, I don't have this skill. Can you come and we can work together and we could figure this out? And I'm going to give you credit and it's going to be just as good as it is for you as it is good for me. And we both win. Like these are the kinds of things that I talk about. And these are the kinds of things that I want you to see, that I want you to learn, that I want you to be you. There's the biggest gift that somebody ever gave me was being myself. And that's what I want to give other people, the ability to be yourself. It is just one of the most amazing, freeing ways to live your life. And I want that for you. So, what's one surprising thing about me that readers won't expect from reading the book? So, I think just all the hard shit, maybe resting bitch face may be funny to some people. The surprising pieces are really just my vulnerability and how real I really get in what I say and how I say it. And, the telenovela moments of my life growing up. I mean, there's some telenovela moments in there that I think people are going to be like, damn, that shit was crazy. And it was, but it's the reality of what I lived through and the kind of stuff that I saw that at my age, I shouldn't have seen, but I did. And, there's plenty of surprises because people don't know me like that. I think people don't really get to see, deep down who Miriam is. They see me as this person who has achieved a lot because I have, and I've been helpful and I've helped hundreds of people at this point. And I'm really excited and happy about that. And I'm so proud of how far I've come. But at the same time, I think people are going to be shocked at how vulnerable I really am and the reality of the stories of what I tell, how I learned what I learned, the perspective from which I come from, and even how forgiving I am for my family and forgiving for those people that it just didn't go well. And I don't wish anybody any ill. I never do. Some things work out and some things don't. And there's always two sides to the coin. There's always two sides of the coin. Always. There's always something you can learn from the good, and there's always something you learn from the bad. And sometimes we're the bad, and sometimes we're the good. And we need to be just as open, just as accepting to those pieces of us and not hide them or suppress them. Realize that they're there, realize how they inform who we are, the lens that we see through our perception, and understand that we can get help and keep going and keep moving. Before we wrap up, If today's episode lit something up in you, imagine what the whole book could do. Grab your copy of Tattoos and Pearls, Combining Street Wisdom with Corporate Strategy today, and you'll also unlock 3 powerful bonuses: the free downloadable companion workbook to help you apply each chapter to your own journey, an exclusive private Q&A session with me that'll be, I'll go into the juicy details that you want me to go into. And then also the Instinct and Influence 5-step program guidebook. That mini guidebook is another quick win and is another way for you to be able to figure out, okay, how do I apply the Ink and Pearls framework and strategy into where you currently are? And head over to my website, miriamsimon.online, to get your copy and your bonuses. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.